genetic testing. And genetic testing has actually become mainstream, right? 23andMe, they're on football games. They're on specific channels on TV that you would never expect to hear about genetic testing. So, is genetic testing really a reliable way to create a custom plan? Is genetic testing really relevant in clinical practice to use to inform how we should recommend what people do and how you work? So, the mainstream, yeah, everybody's heard about 23andMe, but what's the relevant? So, we're going to discuss and explore these on our channel today, on our video today. So, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Rita Marie Lascalzo, and I love to support health and wellness practitioners to really help and empower their clients to restore balance and help and support their own health. I'm also very passionate about working with people who have hormonal imbalances, body system imbalances, and are looking for what are the actions that they need to take in order to get well. So let's jump in and get started. So let's go back to the 23andMe thing. 23andMe got started way back probably in, I'm thinking 2011, 12, maybe even before that. And they started out doing genetic testing and providing an online report. Here's what your genetics are showing about you. Like what diseases do you have an increased or a decreased tendency towards? So those reports I find not very useful because it's like, oh, you have a 2.5% increased risk of Parkinson's or a 5.6% increased risk of celiac or whatever. But they're not really delving in and allowing us to see the genes. As a practitioner, what we do is we download the data from 23andMe and we put it into other reports that give us more useful information so we can compare and contrast. There's also other companies out there. There's like Self Decode, which gives you very, very, very detailed reports about each condition. Like, oh, here's your risk of blood sugar imbalance, and here's your risk of cardiac disease or whatever. And these can be quite useful because these are direct to consumer services, right? You don't have to go through a doctor to get 23andMe or Self Decode or any of the others done. Then there are a few of these companies that are claiming that they can give you a customized supplement program based on your genes. Then they'll sell you the supplements. To me, that's the scam part of it. You can't go ahead and create a custom supplement program for someone based on the genetics alone. The genetics I do find very, very helpful in informing me what risks people have. I also find them very, very helpful in helping people to make a decision about dietary changes and lifestyle changes that are challenging. But when they see it in their genes and they see they have the tendency to have a specific outcome if they don't make changes, it helps motivate and inspire them to make changes. So that's how I see the genetic testing being extremely useful, right? So let's look a little bit more deeply. I once fed my 23andMe raw data into a program, a company that said, hey, give us your raw data and we'll create a custom supplement program. I came out of that report with dozens of supplements that I needed to take based on my genetics. What's wrong with that picture? They didn't know anything about me. They didn't know what my health history was. They didn't look at my labs. They didn't look to see if I was actually manifesting the presentations from those genes. They didn't help to look at at all whether those genes were turned on or off. And what we know is that certain genes you may have, but they're not turned on. And other genes you may have and they are turned on. So what controls the turning on and turning off of these genes? That's related in very big part to epigenetic factors, the diet and the lifestyle factors that you get to control. And that's the good news. If you have a gene that predisposes you to Alzheimer's, it doesn't mean you're going to get Alzheimer's, right? So we wouldn't say, hey, you have the ApoE44 gene and you have the ApoE44 gene. My phone is going nutty. You have the ApoE44 gene and you are going to get Alzheimer's. So therefore you want to take this medication or do this particular process. But we can say that you have the ApoE44 and you have a higher risk of Alzheimer's. So here are the other things, the lifestyle and diet things that are going to make you more prone to get it or not get it. So an example, right? I threw my stuff through a report and it came out with a long list of supplements I needed to take. I do all the the epigenetic factors. I take into account my diet, my meditation, my sleep. And what happens is I am reducing my risk of that. When we look at stats, we say, well, how much is controlled by the genes and how much is controlled by our epigenetics? And most researchers agree that somewhere between 5 to 15% is controlled by the genes. 5 to 15%. Somebody like Bruce Lipton thinks that only 1%. And this is a guy who's, trained in genetics and he's highly skilled. And what he's found from experience that it's less than 1%. So if you have some genes, it doesn't mean you're going to get the diseases that those genes may predispose you to. But it does mean you need to be more careful. It doesn't mean that you need a laundry list of, 15, 20 supplements for each of these conditions that you're prone to. It means that let's look at your symptoms. Let's look at your exposures. Let's look at your diet. And then let's look at some lab testing that will tell us, are you expressing these genes or not? So I'm just really not for these genetic tests that tell you, here's your list of supplements, and then they'll make a custom formulation for you. I just don't think it's that simple. I don't think it really works that way. I used the word scam in my picture, my little thumbnail that led to this video. Scam is a strong word. It's a negative word. Is it a scam? Or is it just somebody who is not quite all the way informed about what goes into it? I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's really not something you want to go spend your money on and then spend a lot of money on taking these supplements when for the rest of your life, you might not need them. But you do need to take dietary action and fitness action and stress reduction action and sleep action and really get your lifestyle into a place where you're not showing a lot of the risk factors for those things. So because I'm so excited about this topic, I am doing a 3-day live event in June 2nd to 4th. And it's online, so everybody can access it. And I'm super excited about it because we're going to go through this in depth. We're going to go through a lot of these genes that predispose to highly challenging, let's just say, deadly, in another way to say, diseases, and how you can protect yourself. It's an event that's geared towards health and wellness practitioners and stuff they can use in their practices. If you're not a health and wellness practitioner and you're watching this, you're totally welcome to show up and come to the event. But don't show up if you're scared of science, because we're going to go into the nitty-gritty that practitioners need to know. We're going to go into the lab, the genetic testing. We're going to go into the lab testing. And there's quite a number of genetic tests out there. And we're working at getting some of those companies to come and talk a little bit about theirs, but at least to come and sponsor the event. So if you want more information about it, just comment below, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, comment and we'll put the link there. I will tell you what the link is, but it's maybe hard to spell because the title of the event is Functional Nutrigenomics in Clinical Practice. And the URL you can go to is Functional Nutrigenomics Workshop.com. Functional Nutrigenomics Workshop.com. functionalnutritiongenomics.com. And I'll have my team put the link in the chat so you all can see it, but functionalnutritiongenomicsworkshop.com. So in summary, genes are part of the picture. It's an important part of the picture. They are relevant in practice. They are relevant in helping you to see your big picture health. And I really encourage everybody to get a genetics test and then have somebody who knows what they're doing help you walk you through it. What we do at these events is we walk through it, and a lot of people do their own genetic testing, and then they come and they like mark things off and take notes in the columns, and so understand it. We're also going to give these amazing charts that I put together that are going to help you to understand what those genes mean. So I would recommend that, follow up. My call to action for you is sign up for the workshop. It's right now on early bird special for only $97. So it's well worth it for 3 days of in-depth clinical experience in clinical content that's useful and practical that you can put into effect right away. And we're going to have some amazing speakers to take it deeper. So stay tuned. If you sign up now, you capture that lower price, and then any additional bonuses, which we add, and I'm notorious for adding bonuses as we get closer to the day, you'll get everything. You'll get everything. So sign up now. And keep it in mind that your health is the most important asset that you have. Practitioners keep in mind that what you learned in medical school or nursing school probably didn't cover this stuff. Even what you learned in naturopathic school, especially if you've been in practice for a while, or chiropractic, we didn't know a lot about this stuff. I didn't learn this stuff in chiropractic school or nutrition education. I learned it by taking a lot of workshops, but digging into the science. So if you have questions, I see Jan says it's interesting. Yes. So if you have comments or questions, put them in the comments and we'll come back afterwards and we'll answer them. But I highly recommend that you dig deeper into this, because it can be a piece that's going to help inform you about what steps to take, what things to avoid, and how you can put together a program for yourself. But when you do it in conjunction with your health history, your diet, your nutritional status, and also a lot of the other things that go into that. Okay. And lab testing. All right. So thank you so much for being here. And until next time, shine on.